and it has happened, that the WASP collection would be the cornerstone of their collections in their library. So Texas Women's University does not have exhibit space, but because they're a state school and their funds are, they don't have to worry about their funding, they are able to archive these wonderful artifacts. They are able to catalog them and digitize them and put them online. So if you are interested in researching anything about a WASP, you can go to twu.edu and then go to their library and their women's collections. A lot of people today are doing research on, because there are so few vintage World War II airplanes left, they are trying to trace the history of airplanes. These flight logs that these women had at TWU, I mean, every flight they took, they had to put the date, the number of the aircraft, where they flew it to. And so they are valuable information. It's valuable information for people who are researching the history of aircraft today, plus the history of what these women did. Most of them were beautifully educated. Most of them had college degrees. A lot of them had learned to fly, just like the WPA built dams and lakes and improved roadways and built parks back during the Depression and going into World War II. They offered a civilian pilot training program through the university. A lot of these women got their pilot's license through that program, because not only did you get a pilot's license, but it counted for college credit. In fact, there was that, you could get the civilian pilot training program had a base at the hangar that our museum is in right now in Sweetwater, and a couple of the instructors who were instructors at Avenger Field got their pilot's license through the civilian pilot training program. Our museum was founded by the WASP because when we open our west hangar doors, we are overlooking the actual runways where these women trained. We are truly located on hallowed ground, no different from where the Wright brothers flew at Kitty Hawk on those sand dunes, or from the Battle at Wounded Knee, or the Bridge of Concord where the first shot was heard around the world. I mean, that we are so privileged to be in the exact spot where these women trained. So we work very closely with TWU. They have more research facilities than we do. All our archives are growing. We get calls from all over the world, people interested in what these women did. And the beautiful and sad part of the WASP was that it was so short, kind of like Camelot. I mean, it's just that one little space in time. Nothing before, nothing after, just those 2.5 or 3 years. But it makes it so wonderful for us because it's so easy for us to help you focus on those wonderful 3 years. And I hope you will come and see us. Our museum is open Tuesday through Saturday, 1 until 5, on Sunday from 1 until 5. We are still so small that there is no admission charge. We have discovered that our donations, after people see our wonderful museum, our donations are greater than what our admittance fee would get for us. But we have 2 huge events. We have 2 large events. Homecoming, which you have just missed by the skin of your teeth, and was wonderful. Just know next year, the Saturday before Memorial Day, Avenger Field, you can come and visit with these wonderful women. 3 of them celebrated 90th birthdays. We had a big birthday cake that would feed 200 people, so everyone that was in the hangar got to celebrate the WASP for birthdays. We have wonderful books. We are a full-fledged museum, so come and see us. Do you have any questions? I have a very short video that I want you to see. It was made at Homecoming last year. We haven't gotten our video for 2 weeks ago yet, but this gives you an overview of the museum, and you can see what these wonderful feisty little women. Oh, and when they walk in, you ask them, "Would you like a glass of wine?" And they go, No, I'd rather have a Shiner Bach. Or there's one on Walker that raises horses in one of the Dakotas, and her ranch is called Dead End Ranch. And you will go, Roby, can I get you something to drink? And she'll go, yes, Jim Beam and water. And we keep her Jim Beam handy.
I can get a bucket all and I can see the world.
Commander, U.S. Navy, retired. I'm here today to honor my mother, Betty Shea, Class 43-W5 of the Women's Air Force Service pilots in World War II. This is an event to honor those women and U.S. Navy, Betty Shea. And this course over Sweetwater, where she always said this was the best time.
That's what that was for saying.
Retracing the ferry route, similar to a ferry route they would have flown. And for me, it's very personal, but it would be, I'd like to just promote the WASP and maybe raise some money for the museum here in Sweetwater. That's the short story, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so needless to say, I wouldn't be where I'm at without the WASP and without their influence in my career and my decisions. I owe them all. They're my heroes.
Right, to all the WASP who couldn't be here at Sweetwater, Texas for the 2013 homecoming. Thank you so much for your service, for your dedication, for your amazing skill. Because of what you did back in 1942 to 1944, I'm able to be a Thunderbird, be a combat fighter pilot, and I owe all that thanks to you. So thank you.
I'm the past. They're the future. They have to keep our Americans strong and well for us. Whether you fly or whatever you do, just be the best job. Oh, you're great, and that's the way you should go.
Got a headset for you? It's new with water, so it'll actually work.
She can come.
You guys will have a full intercom, and so we will have a full intercom. All right, Julie, come get down.
It's been over 50 years.
She thought she was going to fly.
I think you're in. Well, you're fine. You're fine. A lot of time Kevin on that flight, he was telling y'all a story.
Very much. Thank you. Well, I'm glad that there's some people like you. Hello there, Texans. My name's Elizabeth Betty Wallstrom, 44W1. All of you that are in the vicinity and not in the vicinity, I send greetings to because I'm telling you, I'm so happy to be here for these wonderful people and the wonderful people that drove us down here today. Anyway, I hope all of you in the area can come and see our women pilots, not just the WASP. But if anyone is interested in what happened a few years ago, you come and visit us. We're here to tell you. Thanks a lot.
Are you? You look lovely as always. You're so glad you are here.
And they're still in their uniforms. I mean, these women can still get in those uniforms.
I have so many names, I don't know where to start. When I was in the WASP, I was Florence Rubin. And stupidly, I got married out of the WASP and became Florence Lazarus. And after that divorce, which didn't last very long, I became Florence Ellen. And I've kept that name, and now my name is Florence Mascot. So now you have the whole history. Experience, I think that excuse me, I'm an opinionated woman. Every woman, every kid, before they go to college, should get some military experience. And I don't mean in combat. What you learn being in service is so very important. It has helped me throughout my whole life. And I'm very grateful to be able to say I was there. Did I have done that? It has helped me because I have done a lot of things that most women would not have the guts to do. Not only climb things, okay? End of story.
I'm Penny Howard. I was in the class before W6. Important that girls understand about the WASP and the importance of our doing what we did, because it set the tone for the girls. The women who are flying now, and they are flying all sorts of wonderful planes, big planes. And it started with us. We were the first women to fly military aircraft. But the women now, you should see what they're flying, what they're doing. They are doing a most wonderful job. So you can be very proud of them. It's something to look forward to.
As I told we got a notice saying that they were looking for women pilots with 35 hours of flight time. And I thought, boy, that's going to be me. I'm going to get 35 hours of flight time and I'm going to fly military aircraft. And so I did, and so I did.
That didn't bore you. I see it so many times that I keep thinking, gosh, is someone drifting? Is someone drifting off? But I have to, I do want you to ask me questions if you would like, but I have to tell you a very personal story. We lived in Houston. My husband was a stockbroker in Houston for 35 years. He'd always been a nationally ranked amateur golfer, so when he was 53, he joined the senior PGA Tour and played professional golf until he retired 10 years ago, and we moved to Sweetwater, where he grew up. Well, in Houston, I had been on the Houston Museum of Natural Science Guild board and a volunteer and chaired lots of committees and been in charge of the gift shop at that museum. So when I was uprooted from Houston and moved to beautiful downtown Sweetwater, there were some deficits I felt in the quality of my life, but I found this museum that had opened in 2005 and found my place there. And I've gone on to be privileged to serve on the board of directors, be privileged to be president of the board of directors, and then 2 years ago, when we lost our director, who had done a beautiful job, but we needed someone with museum skills. We needed a curator, we needed someone to work with our museum education. And while I can do anything in the world and think that I should be president of the world, that I could not do those jobs. So May the 1st, we hired a new director, and I am now director of sales and events. But that's not all that I do. I do this because I am here to impart to you part of my passion for these women, for what they did, and for this wonderful historic spot in Sweetwater. And we had not been in Sweetwater but about a year, and our 8-year-old granddaughter came to spend her week with us in Sweetwater, and I took her out and I showed her the museum. We didn't have any of this, I mean, we were just sort of bare bones, but she heard the story of these women, and as she's skipping out over a asphalt parking lot bubbling in 110-degree heat, she looked up at me and she said, "Precious, I can be anything I want to be, can't I?" And if we can impart that to my grandchild, I mean, that's just one person. And I am sure that there have been hundreds since that have visited the museum and heard this wonderful story that feel exactly the same way. That if you work hard enough, you don't let anyone deter you, you are honest in your endeavors, and you strive to be the best you can be, then you really and truly can realize any dreams that you. So this museum is a museum sort of dreams, not only of artifacts, but I do hope you will come and see us. And are there any questions? I could talk for about 3 days and not tell the whole story, but any questions?
That saying, "Our feet are in the dust and sand."
This is their motto. This is the WASP motto. And so apropos for West Texas, don't you think? And you saw, in this video, you saw the WASP around a fountain with a statue in it. That is, in 1953, all of the barracks at Avenger Field were wooden, as was the control tower in Hangar 1. And they all burned. We had one of these terrible windstorms, caught fire, and all of the wooden buildings were destroyed. The only 2 original buildings left are 2 old hangars. One is partially used, the other is not used at all. Once they cleared the rubble away, TSTC, Texas State Technical College, West Texas campus is located on the spot where the administration buildings and the barracks were located when the WASP were here. And that fountain, once you soloed or you passed a test, one of your flight tests, they would throw the girls in the fountain. That fountain is still there, and that's the reason, that's where they do their annual photo op at the fountain on the campus of TSTC. Our hangar was built in 1929, where the museum is today. It's the original Sweetwater Municipal Airport. At that time, Sweetwater was built by the railroads. There were 4 major railroads that converged in Sweetwater. And so the railroads deeded the land to have a city built to facilitate the railroads. And you could get on a train in California and come to Sweetwater and then come out to this little hangar in the early 1930s, get on a little bitty airline called Sunbeam Airline and fly to Chicago, St. Louis, the mid-northeast, and cut 2 days off of a transcontinental trip. And it was a busy little space. It was not, our hangar is not on what was Avenger Field, but it was the civilian airport while the WASP were in training, and it was used by the WASP for, we did maintenance work on airplanes on a contractual basis there. One of the things that amazes me about how times have changed, when these women would get on a train and come to Sweetwater, they would get off that train under a vast blue, midnight blue sky dotted with diamond-like stars, and there would be a sleepy little cab driver that would take them to the Blue Bonnet Hotel, which was one of the biggest hotels in the area at that time. They would overnight, then get on a converted cattle trailer that they had put benches in, and they would be taken in the cattle car to the base for their time in Sweetwater. Today, there are no passenger trains. I mean, we don't even have a depot in Sweetwater anymore. There certainly are no cabs. The Blue Bonnet Hotel is gone, and Avenger Field is gone. But the history lingers on. So, anything else? Thank you.
So, it would make a great movie, wouldn't it?
It would make a wonderful movie, and they have tried. There is a
Somebody's gonna
movie,
pick it up.
yes, you know, and they did the red tails, and we have people come all the time who are writing, screen